Chapter 23. Brooke.
The halls were buzzing with gossip from all directions. Everyone spoke in hushed tones as they revealed what they knew about the situation. It made the sound of the metal lockers opening and shutting seem louder than normal. They called off the hunt because of it, so it must be true. I know. I bet the sheriff threw a hissy fit when he found out. Geez, can you imagine being Kate or Josie? As if Kate didn't have it bad enough already. At this comment, I looked in her direction. Sad, meek Kate lowered her head and curled her shoulders in, doing her best to be invisible. She was usually successful and had become an expert in it after her mother passed. She probably hated the extra attention more than anything. Josie, on the other hand, took the news in stride. She was as popular as always, practically bouncing down the halls to silence any rumors about her. No one could bring her down, not even a monster of a father. As far as the rest of the high school was concerned, she was unaffected by whatever Randy Adams did. Who do you think it could be? The question made my body tense. Did anyone know it was me? Did the officer even know? Would someone figure it out? How could they take her word for it? She could be some animal lover that called in and lied, like Mary Montgomery. She knew something about the case no one else did, Nash interrupted, silencing the gossip. It was something Dad didn't even know. It proved that she was there that night. Really? Yeah, believe me, he was irate about it, he mumbled, walking away. Nash stood up for me? Well, I guess he didn't know it, but it was still cool. I hoped that would be the end of it. The rumors for the day would die down and I could go back to any form of normal in my life. I wanted normal so badly. At Charles's house, I felt so close. With Mom gone, it seemed like I had a chance for stability. Not normal, but maybe safety. She had turned my life upside down for the last time. And yet, I missed her. I missed her reading to me at night as a child. I missed her before the drugs, and even in those breaks without them. Without them, she was good. Why did she have to choose them? Why did she ever try them in the first place? Why wasn't I enough? I slammed my locker shut to reveal Raven's face, staring at me with concern in her big brown eyes. Her glasses made them even bigger, and they were full of emotion. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Raven. She had a best friend who was the bravest person she ever knew, she began, putting her hand on my forearm. Her friend had been through so much. Storm after storm had blown through her life, and yet, like a mighty oak, she stood tall. I bit my lip to keep from crying. I don't feel like I'm standing tall. I feel like I've toppled to the ground. I feel defeated, Raven. I'm overwhelmed and ready to give up. She shook her head. Some oaks would have broken at the fierceness of the wind and the storms, but not Raven's best friend. Nothing, not even a tornado or hurricane, could make that mighty woman fall. Raven is honored to stand by and support her, hoping that some of that bravery and strength might rub off on her. I leaned into her and let her hug me. You're a great storyteller, I said, choking back tears. I'm proud of you, Brooke, she said. I'm so proud of you for telling them the truth. It wasn't that brave, I admitted. I didn't tell them who I was. I don't think that's the point, she said, pulling her glasses up to wipe the tears from her eyes. Between you telling what they tried to do and your boyfriend's vengeance, you scared them out of doing something like that ever again. I stepped back, surprised. I hadn't thought of that. I was only trying to protect Peter. I didn't realize I could be protecting other girls like me. It would have been nice if the day ended there. It would have been good to go out on a high note, but the storms kept coming, one after another. At lunch, the downpour began. Did you hear? About the girl in the woods? Yeah, Michael said something about it this morning. No, not that. Jeff broke up with Holly. I was walking with my tray in hand when I heard it and stopped in my tracks. Raven ran into me from behind. What's going on? She asked, peering around to look at me for answers. Yeah, apparently he's been sleeping with someone else all summer. Says he's in love with her. Who is it? I don't know. She may not even go here. Let's go, Raven said as she ushered me to our usual table. You look as white as I do. You're exaggerating. I said, knowing my tan skin could never be as porcelain as hers. Barely, she said. Sit down and drink something. You look like you might faint. I don't want to drink anything. I'm more worried about throwing up than I am fainting, I argued. Your sugar could be low or something. Drink a little bit of milk, she begged, probably wondering when the last time I ate was. I'm not thirsty, Raven. Drop it, I whined as I held my head in my hand. Her eyes widened and she huffed at me. It reminded me of Peter, communicating without words. Are you with Jeff again? He had asked me in the car. It sounded ridiculous, but he knew it was a possibility. He saw me with him. He knew how deeply and toxically I was connected to Jeff. It wasn't all summer, right? Raven asked. She sounded kind of bitter, like I might have been holding information from her. I glared at her. We kissed all summer. We only did it once, that night in the tent. She nodded, knowing I was telling the truth. That was one thing I loved about Raven. She always trusted me because she knew when I was lying. The bad thing was I could never lie to her. It wasn't even an option, even when I wanted it to be. Did he and Holly? She asked. Or was that something the two of you talked about? He said they didn't, and I believed him. He said she wanted to wait, but she stayed the night in the tent just like I was planning to. I don't know if I can believe a word he says anymore. I wish you would ask him so I would know if it's true or not. She grinned a little but tried to rein it in. She couldn't help but be proud of her gift. I noticed her face fall when something behind me caught her eye. I turned to see Holly shuffling through the crowd. Her eyes were red and puffy, her gait slow and broken. Many girls rallied around her like they were trying to console her, but it didn't seem like she wanted them to. She never seemed like she had any true friends. Maybe she wanted to grieve her relationship and the betrayal on her own. Or maybe she suspected one of them had stabbed her in the back. I never wanted this, I whispered to Raven. I specifically did not want this. It wasn't my fault that I fell for someone that was taken, but I never should have gone along with those feelings. I'm the other woman. I'm the secret he had to keep. I should have demanded more. I should have made him choose long before I ever kissed him. Why do you think he didn't tell her it was you? Raven asked, ever practical. I didn't know. Was he trying to protect me? Was he keeping quiet out of respect for me? I shrugged, unable to find a concrete guess. She leaned in and whispered, What are you going to do now? I looked at her through squinted eyes, confused. What do you mean? I'm supposed to do something? I assumed that was his calling card to you, she explained. The rumor is that he came clean and broke it off with her because he's in love with you. He's probably waiting for you to come to him. I had asked him to show me he loved me. I asked for action, for him to choose me, and he actually did it. I glanced at his table, eyeing him as he ate with his friends on the basketball team. They carried on as if no rumors existed, stuffing their faces and laughing. For a brief moment, our eyes locked. There was a question in his eyes. He was waiting for me. So, what are you going to do? Raven repeated.